Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2020 movie titled Seized. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film begins in the sun-soaked coastal town of Rosarito, Mexico, where we meet Nero, a devoted single father raising his only son, Taylor. Following the tragic death of his wife, Nero has taken on the role of a security consultant, trying to provide for his son while grappling with his own grief. One day, while Taylor is at school, Nero receives an alarming call informing him that his son has been involved in a fight. Upon returning home, Nero confronts Taylor, expressing frustration over his son's frequent altercations. However, Taylor feels misunderstood and unhappy, burdened by the taunts from his classmates about his mother's passing, which ultimately led to the fight. In an attempt to guide him, Nero advises Taylor that violence only begets more violence. Yet, Taylor, yearning for self-defense, insists that he wants to learn how to fight. Later that evening, Taylor immerses himself in YouTube tutorials on fighting techniques, determined to train himself. When Nero discovers him practicing, he reiterates his warning to avoid fights and concentrate on his studies. But their conversation is abruptly interrupted when Nero is struck in the neck by a dart from a hidden gun, causing him to lose consciousness. He awakens to the sound of a ringing phone. On the other end is an unknown man who reveals a shocking truth. Nero is not just a security consultant but a former Special Forces agent living under the alias Richard. The man's knowledge of Nero's true identity sends him into a panic as he rushes to Taylor's room, only to find it empty. Desperate for answers, he demands to know where his son is. The man responds by sending a video showing Taylor bound and frightened, a hostage in an unknown location. The man warns Nero that if he wants to see Taylor safe again, he must comply with his orders. He reveals that Taylor is being held in a truck rigged with a tube connected to the exhaust pipe, creating a dire urgency for action. The man instructs Nero to head to the garage for a package. Upon arrival, Nero discovers a box containing a tactical vest equipped with a body camera for monitoring his every move. He also finds weapons and a bulletproof Chevrolet Suburban waiting for him. Before embarking on this perilous mission, Nero requests to speak with Taylor. He is connected to his son, who is understandably confused and scared about the situation. Their conversation is abruptly cut off as the man promises that Taylor will be returned if Nero completes all the tasks assigned to him. Following the directions given by the man, who identifies himself as Zamo, a member of the cartel, Nero drives to an undisclosed location and parks outside. Zamo presents him with his first assignment, to eliminate members of rival cartels, Roja and Garza, who are meeting to negotiate their differences. Torn between his moral compass and the desperate need to save his son, Nero hesitates at the thought of harming innocent people. However, Zamo insists that they are criminals deserving of their fate. With no other options left and time running out for Taylor, Nero steels himself for what he must do. He infiltrates the restaurant where the cartel members are gathered and, without hesitation, opens fire on the unsuspecting group inside. The stakes have never been higher, and as chaos erupts around him, Nero's journey into darkness begins. Nero dashed out of the building, his heart racing, and hurried back to the car where Zamo awaited him. The cartel leader wore a satisfied smile, clearly pleased with Nero's successful execution of his first mission. Eager to hear his son's voice again, Nero requested to speak with Taylor. Impressed by Nero's performance, Zamo reluctantly agreed and connected the call. Nero, Taylor's voice came through, tinged with fear and confusion. "Are you coming to get me?" "I'm going to get you back, Taylor," Nero reassured him, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "I just need to finish the tasks these men have set for me." Before he could say more, Zamo interrupted, his tone sharp and commanding. "Enough. Move to your next destination." As Nero hung up, he realized that Zamo, along with his lover Alanza and their cartel members, were all watching his every move, their eyes filled with intrigue. It became clear that they were using him as a pawn to eliminate their rivals in the cartel world. Moments later, a group of corrupt intelligence agents arrived, led by Donovan, who had come to observe Nero's second assignment. Zamo wasted no time in providing details about his next target, Eliezer Machado, a notorious figure known for his involvement in prostitution, racketeering, kidnapping, and bombings. Nero was already familiar with Machado's dark reputation. Determined, he made his way to the prostitution den where Machado was rumored to be hiding. As he approached the entrance, he swiftly incapacitated the guard on duty, all while Zamo and the others monitored the unfolding events from a distance. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with tension, security personnel eyed him suspiciously as he navigated through the establishment. Nero finally reached the VIP area and found himself face to face with Machado. Without hesitation, he called Zamo to confirm that he was witnessing the encounter. In a swift motion, he drew his weapon and shot Machado dead. With the deed done, he exited the den and returned to his car, eager to reconnect with Taylor. Over the phone, Nero revealed a shocking truth to his son. He had once worked for an intelligence agency and felt responsible for Taylor's kidnapping. "Is this connected to Mom's death?" Taylor asked hesitantly. "Why do they call you Nero?" "It was my cover name," Nero explained, his voice heavy with regret. "Someone betrayed me and exposed my identity. After that, gangsters kidnapped your mother and killed her. I tracked them down and avenged her death. The agency pulled me off duty and moved us here to Mexico for safety." Just as he finished his explanation, Zamo cut off the call. "You have a long way to go before your next mission," he reminded Nero before turning his attention to Taylor. Zamo approached Taylor and offered him something to eat, but the boy remained silent, clearly troubled by the situation. "We have no choice but to use your father," Zamo said, attempting to reassure him. "My dad will kill you all," Taylor shot back defiantly. Zamo smiled knowingly. "It won't come to that, you'll be going home soon." Taylor scoffed at this notion. "You think I believe that? You showed me your face. You'll have to trust me," Zamo replied before leaving. The following day found Nero en route to his next mission, steeling himself for what lay ahead. Meanwhile, a conversation unfolded between Donovan and Zamo, revealing that Donovan had orchestrated Nero's involvement for Zamo's benefit. However, Donovan cautioned Zamo that once Nero completed his tasks, he would undoubtedly seek revenge against those who had manipulated him. Zamo dismissed the concern, confident that he held Taylor as leverage and did not expect Nero to turn against him. Zamo, brimming with overconfidence, reassured Alanza that everything would turn out fine by the end of the day. Meanwhile, Taylor, trapped and desperate, began devising a plan to free himself. Using his shoelace, he created friction against the plastic bindings that held him, slowly weakening them. After a determined struggle, he finally managed to free himself. With ingenuity and desperation, he broke a nearby chair to leverage against the truck door, despite the daunting challenge it presented. As Taylor worked on his escape, Zamo celebrated with his cartel members, confident that Nero would soon complete his final task. He sent Nero a photograph of his next target, Omar Chavez, an arms dealer and personal rival. Nero assured Zamo that he would handle the situation, prompting cheers from Zamo and his men as they rallied behind Nero's name. Meanwhile, inside his stronghold, Chavez was informed by one of his men about the recent attacks on rival cartels. The news that both the Roja and Garza cartels had been wiped out shocked him. They were formidable forces in their own right. Unable to identify the assailant behind these attacks, he speculated whether it could be the CIA or MI6. He ordered his men to remain vigilant, fearing they could be next. As Nero approached his destination, he prepared his weapons, while Zamo and his crew awaited his success with eager anticipation. Inside, Chavez sat down for breakfast, oblivious to the impending danger. Nero arrived at the entrance and swiftly shot the guards outside, forcing his way in. A chaotic shootout ensued as he fought through to reach Chavez. Hearing the commotion, Chavez was alerted to the attack. He quickly prayed for protection and readied his gun. The battle outside raged on until Chavez managed to shoot Nero from behind, causing Zamo and his men to believe that their operative was dead. Zamo declared that with Nero out of the picture, they would have to finish the job themselves. Aware that Nero's assault had weakened Chavez, they planned an immediate attack to eliminate him once and for all. However, unbeknownst to them, Nero was not dead but rather captured and tortured by Chavez's men. Shortly thereafter, Chavez arrived to interrogate him, questioning who had sent him and why he was considered an enemy. To Chavez's surprise, he did not recognize Nero. When Nero failed to provide an answer, confused himself, Chavez showed him a video of a kidnapped Taylor. Nero revealed that Taylor was his son and warned that he would be killed if they did not act swiftly. He explained that he had been forced into eliminating rival cartels under duress. Realization dawned on Chavez: it was likely Zamo who orchestrated this scheme to consolidate power. He expressed curiosity about how Nero managed to track both him and Taylor down. Just as Chavez prepared to pull the trigger, Zamo's men arrived outside, distracting him momentarily. Seizing this opportunity, Nero engaged in a fierce fight against Chavez's henchmen while working to untie himself. Displaying remarkable skill and determination, he dispatched each attacker one by one and finally freed himself from his bindings. As Chavez crawled toward his gun in a desperate attempt to regain control, Nero had already untied himself and swiftly grabbed hold of him. In a decisive move, he shot Chavez dead before making his way through the house to gather a weapon and car keys. With a newfound sense of purpose, he drove away, determined to locate Zamo and rescue Taylor before it was too late. Zamo reveled in his triumph alongside Donovan, confident that Chavez was as good as finished. Despite Donovan's caution against celebrating too soon, Zamo dismissed his concerns with a wave of overconfidence, assuring him that everything was under control. However, Donovan reminded him of the urgent task at hand. They still needed to eliminate Taylor. Reluctantly, Zamo agreed to hand over the keys for Donovan and his men to carry out the job. With a determined stride, Donovan moved toward the truck, flanked by his loyal associates. They revved the engine, preparing to unleash carbon monoxide into the confines where Taylor was held captive. Once ready, they donned gas masks and opened the truck door, only to be met with a shocking discovery: Taylor was gone. Meanwhile, outside Zamo's estate, Nero had arrived. After meticulously surveying the area, he stealthily climbed a pole to evade the watchful cameras, then dropped down inside the compound undetected. Donovan soon returned to Zamo, revealing his suspicion that Nero might have taken Taylor. To Zamo's surprise, he claimed responsibility for securing Taylor's safety, asserting that they did not kill children. Just then, Nero made his entrance, catching both Zamo and Donovan off guard. He confronted Donovan, accusing him of betrayal that had led to his wife's tragic death. In a swift motion, Nero drew his weapon and shot Donovan dead, igniting chaos as a fight broke out between Zamo's men and Nero. As the dust settled, Nero leveled his gun at Zamo and his remaining agents, demanding they bring him Taylor. Zamo complied, sending Alanza to fetch the boy. Despite the tension, Zamo assured Nero that he could easily kill them both, but warned that other cartels would retaliate, seeking vengeance against them as well. He reiterated his promise to return Taylor safely and guaranteed that no one would pursue them again since he was now the last cartel standing. An uneasy agreement formed between them. Zamo would allow them to live in peace. However, Nero remained unconvinced, insisting that remnants of the cartel would still come after them. He vowed that if he ever crossed paths with Zamo again, he would not hesitate to take action. As they prepared to leave, Taylor suggested they take the bike, which Nero readily agreed to. Curiosity sparked in Taylor's eyes as he asked if Nero would teach him how to fight. With a hint of pride, Nero replied that he had already learned well from his school principal, bringing their harrowing journey to a close. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.